Thanks, man. All right. Pretty easy. A lot of spider webs. So 2 more sets with that, and some regular pressing. At this exercise, not very much. Like 70 kilos. Alright, second set. Shoulders are a little crackly, but nothing hurts, which is nice. This is about 5 kilos, well, exactly 5 kilos more than the last session with it. So not too bad, not too bad. So one more set with that, and then some regular pressing. All right. Last one was a bit tough. But a little discomfort's not the end of the world. What's the day? Today's the 24th. I have the wrong date on my notebook. Yesterday was the 23rd. I don't know why. I don't know where it went wrong. All the way on Monday. Over here. This was the 21st. Sunday was the 20th. Disaster. I don't know. I don't feel like correcting my past there. 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Thought today was the 23rd. I didn't realize it's the 24th. Time flies. Alright, so regular pressing now. So I'm going to do 50 and then do this weight for a single and then do 3 sets of 8 at 60 kilos. So nothing too heavy. Weird. All right. All right. See if I can do a set of 8. Not super easy, not super hard. Eights are definitely manageable. So we'll do 2 more sets. Not too bad. All right. That was hard. That was difficult. Last set will be chest and weights. It's a weird thing to say. Oh, Tintin. I don't know why you're bringing politics into lifting weights. Room temperature IQ. Room temperature IQ. Don't encourage him, Trent. Alright, one more set. definitely staying at that weight. Whew. It's somewhere else. Man lifts weights and shed. Immediate thought is, let's be the political man. Why are you talking about me in the third person? I'm right here. Alright. We'll see how front squats feel. Like my back, it's a bit sore, so I may not be able to push them very hard, especially if I can't find my knee wraps. So we'll see. Where are my knee? Oh, right behind. Let's throw these on. Legs feel real good. My ribs, I like both my lower back, but like right below my ribs, just sore. So in theory, I would like to do 170, but none of my ribs say nani. But we'll just work up to we'll do the bar 70, 120, 150, 170. I don't think I'll try anything more, just so I don't re-aggravate anything. Then some pulls. Right. So 70 now. Just singles. Whoops. Where's the bin? Alright. 120. Not too bad. Not too sore. So to 150, we'll throw the belt on. Hopefully this feels alright. The wrap's not gonna do 70. Wasn't fast, but I held my positions pretty decent. I don't know, dude. Go ask your dad. You know, 100 pounds is 100 pounds. It's 99 more than 1 pound. And 100 less than 200. But we're just 170, and then honestly probably just drop it and then just do the pulls right the same way. Feels weird or off, we'll just drop it. But it should be alright. But just trust it. Just trust it. Alright. hard as I anticipated. Now we do pulls. But really on these sessions, if I can get to 170 every time, that's good. If I get anything more, it's a big bonus, but just being able to work up to 170 while doing, on the other days, a lot of squat volume, it's just really good. It's good practice, and that's mostly what I need with the front squat, because I'm not going to do a lot of volume. It just hurts my wrist and front rack and everything. So if I'm able to accumulate volume within the back squat and then practice with the singles like today with the front squat, then I have the practice as well as the volume to actually build muscle and whatnot. But we're doing pulls here at 170. Might just jump each of the sets up, but the first one we'll do here at 170. So just triples, 3 triples, but feeling strong. Actually didn't feel that great, interestingly enough. So we'll just keep working at that weight, which is, I know, was the plan. So it's nice to be able to go heavier, but it's not necessary for pulls. So what's up, Reed? Actually finishing up, I actually worked out quite quick. I was doing those snatch grip presses and stuff like I was doing, I think probably the last time you were in here, because I keep doing it out here in the shed. And then front squats and pulls at 170. Actually, my arm's all red. It's like rubbing against my leg. Probably take care of that, but get the second set done. Reed, you want to peer pressure me to do a heavier pull than 170? I'm easily pressured for pulls. Dang, you said 220? Alright. Hey, whatever you say, Reed, 220. Can't believe you make me do 220, but alright. Still only missed load of 225. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. I don't know if you ever watch my full videos, Reed, but when I take jumps for deadlifts, it's actually absurd. Week's been good so far. It's been a long week. Last week was short with our PD on Thursday and no school on Friday. So the full 5 days has been a marathon for sure. Where's my I don't ever really look back at sessions because I usually have them pretty memorized. So the day I did 300 kilos, I did front squats to 165 was my last make, and missed 180, then missed 183, and then dropped it and started at 220, and then went to 280 and 300. So I did 3 deadlifts. Oh, it's actually comical how absurd my jumps are, but when you don't really care what your deadlift is and it's easy. I mean, I could do a 2000 deadlift. I just have to do it in like 10 reps. But yeah, it's for heavy singles, but I don't think it necessarily means I could do more if I was more dedicated to doing them, but I think I could probably, if I was like an actual just only, I probably could do 700 pounds, which I would never have thought when I started. I don't even know what that means, but yeah, this week's been a good week. It's the last week of kicking stuff, doing like kicking and trapping and dribbling, like soccer skills with them. Next week we're gonna start throwing and throwing and catching. It's nice. I went to the conferences because I didn't have anyone come to see me because I'm the phys ed teacher. I was able to kind of map out the whole year. Josie, how to snatch? I don't. I don't know. I've heard of that person before, but I might have blocked him. Um, but I'm not sure. But I feel like I've heard of that, or I've seen them comment on something. Do they like comment on like everything? I feel like they're like not a. This doesn't sound mean. They're not like a very good weightlifter. Like they're not really strong or anything. They're just like they got that username somehow, and they do like 70 kilo snatches. It sounds mean because there's nothing wrong with like inherently a 70 kilo snatch, but I don't know. Like, like if I had my username was how to snatch, like you'd hope you'd have like a pretty insane snatch or at least I don't know. I don't know what would be a good standard for that, but it's like if I put how to squat, like why would I do that? I put how to deadlift. That makes more sense at least logically. But yeah, some people do that. Some people. I had a friend and she like disappeared, and I thought maybe the same thing. I was like, it's weird. I wasn't really like a close friend. It was just someone I knew at an old gym. I was like, it's weird. Like I was friends with her boyfriend as well. Her boyfriend still had IG, and it was gone for like 3 months. I was like, she probably just deleted her profile or blocked me, but um, it would have been kind of weird because I don't interact with her or anything like that. But then she popped back up and she like had deleted her account for a while, so could just be deactivated. Um, This is the man cave. I'm in the man shed. I'm out here eating chalk. All right. Should I do 1, 2, or 3? So your 3 choices. Glasses are off, so that means I'm taking it serious. We'll do. I'm gonna make like a chew. I don't bench. Reed says 2. You're just baiting me. You're baiting me to do 3. That's toxic. Back at the Arnold, the 1 year I trained at the gym in Columbus. It's right next to the facility. And I did a 500-pound 505, one of those 7 or 8. That was when I was a wee lad. A wee lad. So I've always been good at the deadlifts, but I think it was George Lehman style, touch and go, cheetah reps. Well, we got the deadlift, or not the deadlift shoes, the weightlifting shoes on, so I'll make it more difficult. minus load. Hold up. No, it just felt weird. Alright. Called a cluster. And it fell a little off, but not too terribly off. Alright. I think that was 5. Minus the confusion. The confusion really felt weird on the first one. Like one of the sides felt lopsided, but was it 5? I don't even remember. I counted 5 in my head, so we'll call it 5. Oh, that wasn't too bad though. Was it actually 6? So I did that fake one and then 5 real ones. Can't believe it. He's like 5'5". I'm 5'11". Come on, Muhammad. There's a lot of other people I look a lot similar than Jeff Nippard. 2 white people on here. They're identical twins. Students at school that will call me any adult male, white, black, tall, short, skinny, hairy, bald. If you're a male, you're gonna get called that name at some point. Oh. I got some powdered peanut butter, pure the recommendation of my dad. I put it in some Greek yogurt. It was pretty average. Well, I'm gonna try it in some whey protein shake with it. It's really low in fat. 6 grams protein and 1.5 grams of fat per serving, so not too shabby. Reed, how did your week going? Tomorrow is Friday. I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow. Yeah, so if I'm going to the gym tomorrow, I need to get my stuff, take my things. Well, it's been a 1 million pounds, Muhammad. That's my bench press. 1 million. It's at least 1 gazillion pounds. Yeah, I'm trying to get up to those galactical numbers. Trying to really push a couple neutron stars. I could one day bench a planet into a black hole. It'd be pretty nice, but so I'm saying you need performance enhancers to be able to move planetary objects into the event horizon. But you know, what are you gonna do? Get it smelling salts out. Like how YouTube still picked up your comment, even though you tried to spell out the words. Yeah, I mean it's only a gazillion. So if you saw me get into getting a exoplanet into the event horizon, then you would know that I'm on this nozzle, but not quite at that point yet. Just trying to get to the point where I can push a small planet out of. I don't know if I'm scary or not. Probably not. That was a nice session. A little bit heavier on the pressing. Pulls went a little hog wild. That's I. You're just lifting weights. Everything's a failure when you're a failure in life. I don't think you're kidding, Rosa. I think you think I'm a monster. It's toxic. It's toxic. It's okay though. We called it a monster my whole life. It's terrible. F's in. I'm absolutely petrifying with my sweetened strawberry flavored sparkling water beverage with other natural flavors. Can't be. I'm just the scariest guy. This is what I need to remember to bring. A little thumb tape. Which I haven't been using. My thumbs have been good. But just in case. You never know if something's gonna, callus or something's gonna pop up. I was looking through that Mike guy's Instagram and stuff, and I don't see him doing a lot of legs, which is interesting. But I don't know. I don't know how viable it is just to be a random roid-headed bodybuilder guy and try to give people advice about how to lift weights when he's just a large person, like large and on performance enhancers. Honestly, like even if you don't, no matter what your opinion is on either person, obviously like Jeff Nippard is just like a pretty normal, like non-controversial person. But I would take more advice from the people that, if all else being even, the person that's not on the performance enhancers, because they have to try to optimize every little thing. When you're on that stuff, you don't. But people that do that stuff and optimize are the people that you see, like the Schwarzeneggers and the Chris Bumsteads and Olympic high level Olympic weightlifters. You see them, do crazy things, but then you see that guy, like he doesn't look like, if I saw him, I wouldn't think that he had a lot. Like you would think if he was in the gym, like yeah, he has a lot of muscle, but he doesn't look like someone that's like ripped. Doesn't have like a really low body fat like you expect of someone that's doing those substances. And you could say there's a different standard for people online and blah blah blah. It's like you're gonna take that stuff, like I see what it can do to people, whether it's on the internet or even to people in firsthand. And if you're working hard, you turn into an absolute hog. That is for sure. But the fact that when that like clip came out, I had a friend that was like thought it was fake, and I was like, if you didn't know Jeff Nippard at all, that would be a pretty logical thing with social media. But like, I have seen his stuff for a little bit. I don't know if I watch everything that he does, but I've seen enough of him where he's not like a clickbaity type YouTuber that's gonna like do a Jake Paul thing or whatever. Like for him to fake it would be pretty shocking. And if it was something that was fake, you would expect it to be with like, I don't know, Mike O'Hearn, or like someone that's like someone that you would believe would be a goofy person like that, where you'd be like, oh, they're just like they're goofing around. Like if Mike Israel or something, like that'd be like the perfect guy. It's like, oh no, Mike Israel attacked me at the gym, like that. You'd be like, oh, they're just goofing around. But and with that kind of guy, it's like, yeah, he kind of looks like, he seems like the kind of person to do that kind of thing. But yeah, to like talk about someone and then have them respond, and it's just internet stuff, and then just shove some like that's pretty weak. And I saw his insert. Oh yeah, I don't believe it stayed. It was just like the initial thing before anyone said anything. I haven't seen the security cam. Is that on Nippard's Instagram, or is that been released somewhere? Where is that even at? Because I saw the initial clip floating around, but not like the full security cam stuff. Because I saw that guy got kicked out pretty soon after, so obviously the the gym itself saw pretty soon and decided they didn't want people working there that are assaulting people. But yeah, it's like I don't know. There's not really a wrong way to give advice on the internet if the guy genuinely feels about what he thinks, but when you like the absurdity of a situation is just hilarious to me. And it's good he didn't really, Jeff Nippard's fine and whatever, but it's Jeff approached Mike before Mike attacked him. Hmm. Well, I heard the rumors. I didn't see anything specific, but I suppose I'll wait for Nipper to drop a video. But yeah, that there's not really even if someone like you have a disagreement with walks up, and even if Jeff Nippard was like an absolute garbage person, was coming up and saying like diabolical things to him, which I know he most likely was not. It doesn't give you the right just to choke slam someone unless they're. I think Zach Tallender and Mike Israel had a video, or Zach Tallender had a video with Mike Israel talking about it. It's like unless they're like threatening you directly, and Israel had the example of like if you have like a knife, the person has a knife and saying I'm going to stab you. It's like after that, gloves are off as far as what's acceptable and not. But to disagree with like training principles and go to that absurdity is beyond the pale of what a human should ever do because it's just so absurd. I mean, it'd be as absurd as if I was talking to my sister and I was like, I like dogs a lot more than cats. Cats suck. I don't actually feel like that, but if I actually was saying that and then she just pummeled me, like that'd be absurd in the same way. It's as far as I know, I didn't really listen to the full video of Nippard doing the initial criticism, but I'm gonna guess there wasn't any sort of personal attacks or threats from Jeff Nippard. That guy just apparently is just the mental strength of a very small person, and it's very odd. Um, it's very odd. It was a very weird situation. That's why I think um, well, attacking someone. I don't know so much like how close Jeff Nippard was to death. Oh, 100%. Like it's that's my point is like the level of absurdity for just like I disagree with how you train or how you like any sort of it's hard to say an intellectual debate because there's not much intellect with the Mike guy, and Jeff Nippard obviously has a lot. But in a theoretical intellectual debate, to just try to like fight someone is absurd. And I'm glad in the sense that Jeff Nippard didn't try to like fight back or anything. Not that you necessarily would encourage someone to do that, but it gives Jeff all of the power. Like I talked to you or whatever the interaction was, and you just you literally threw me to the ground twice and attacked my cameraman and all of that stuff. Like there's there's no way to actually justify that and to make yourself look good. And going to that dude's Instagram, that Mike guy, one, I feel like I've seen him at like a random like YouTube or Instagram reel thing, and it's just like a cringe black and white. All his videos are just cringe in general, but he's just like a normal cringe fitness type person that was trying to pretend like he had knowledge about something, and he doesn't. But he wasn't, in theory, before before this, he wasn't hurting anyone, but now it's kind of literally the opposite now. it's Hey, thanks, David. Or, well, Into the Wild. I read that as David. I hope all is well is going for you as well. But a tidbit Irish, actually. Mostly German, a little bit Irish. I don't know how much German, or Irish I have in me. A lot more German than Irish, I think. But I'm a combination of all the pasty people of Europe. Yeah, I mean, and it's even less of like him being big and Jeff being smaller or anything like that. It's the absurdity of the actual like context of them having any sort of physical conflict, and it's it's just such a weird situation. And you do hope that there are charges that are actually pressed, and like he does like get a restraining order at the very minimum, or sues them or whatever, because like that. And that was something else Mike Israel talked about. It's like you don't want to live in a society where if you disagree with someone for something as mundane as like lifting weights. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like it's just lifting weights. It's not the end of the world, no matter how you do in the gym or whatever. It's just exercise. And to get that bent out of shape to where it's like you're gonna do physical acts of violence, like that was kind of like it's like the one thing. It's like if you think of like you're at the gym, if you're lifting weights, and I get people, they might get mad or they might get frustrated with a lift that they do, or, if someone gets in the way or whatever, like something in the context of like someone like bothers you while you're lifting and that like frustrates you in the moment. But like, even that context, like if I was doing a max snatch at the gym and someone came up and like slapped the bar, like, I might yell at them. I might even cuss at them. I might be very upset. But the actual like, the thought in my head of like violence, even in that context, like I might yell at that person and, and throw my straps around. Like I might have every indication, but the actual thought of like violence over anything that's not like life threatening, then it's just absurd. And you like I would view like getting in the way of someone's lift as like actually a little dangerous, and that like being more rightful if like someone got upset. But Jeff just walking around in the gym. No, yeah, like great, and that's where it's like I respect Greg Doucette in that sense because he knows what he's doing and he wants to do it, and he's like he knows he's whatever. I mean, if you ask him, he's like, yes, I'm milking it, and he's very self aware and he knows how he's approaching things, and it's smart because like when it first happened, I was looking around for different YouTubers, and I don't necessarily view him as a trusted source just because it's Greg Doucette and he's has a lot of followers and whatnot. But it was just someone that I've heard talking enough topics to where he's gonna have a clickbait video, but he's not just going to have uh, clickbait where there's no information. Like he's actually gonna talk about something. So I guess in that sense, like he's pretty good information, at least in some contexts, and he knows a lot about with training. Um, but yeah, it was the whole situation is just bizarre. But I do kind of want to look at the video, the security cam. Has Jeff Nippard posted anything? Of course, I have spam comments. But has Jeff Nippard himself posted anything on YouTube? I know he posted like an update on Instagram, two different updates, and that guy is just like trying to milk it for attention. I guess because it probably won't let you show it, Muhammad. But if you put the like if you put the title of the video for me to search, I could. Obviously, I'm using my phone for this now, so I'm not going to be able to look it up this instant. But there we go. It's weird how that one didn't get blocked, but. Oh, so Jeff hasn't. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of curious for at this point is just to listen to Jeff talk about the whole situation because, like, the security cam obviously provides a lot of that context, but it's so absurd So I have my friend that got me into weightlifting. He doesn't follow any the fitness stuff or any YouTube stuff really. Um, but I told him about the situation because it's so absurd that it's like it's an unbelievable situation. Like if I told someone and I didn't have like verifiable proof that it actually happened, there's a lot of people that like my initial friend that I was talking about with it. He's like, I think it's probably fake because it's just so out of left field from like what a normal human would do. It's just like it's like going up someone's walking a dog and it barks and you go up and kick it. It's just like so out of the blue and so absurd that like it's, don't worry about it. If it's, I'm sure it's very SEO friendly to find anything related to Jeff Nippard in that security cam right now. So I'm sure I'll be able to find it. But yeah, the that whole situation is just it's bonkers to me. But I don't know. I hope that the Mike guy. I hope that he's not. I mean, who knows if he's able to actually profit or not? But I just hope that he fades into the obscurity that he kind of was in. And I think for the most part that he was like this will be the most interaction, the most attention that he'll get probably for the rest of his life, just because he'll be not necessarily entirely blacklisted, but it will be. It's such a stain on your reputation that to that and to not even apologize for it. Like the people that are trying to defend him on his like he's reposting a bunch of stuff on his Instagram, and people are like, if you talk s, you're gonna get smacked. Like if I disagree with you, you're going to fight me. Like it's so it's it's so absurd. It's like when we bring up the president election, it's like if you say you're going to vote for one party or the other, and like physically fighting the person that just told you that they disagree with, and it's unbelievable in that sense. And um, I guess part of me was hoping it was fake because you're like you can't you don't you don't want to believe that something like that. Oh, Mohammed, it just it caught you for swearing. YouTube blocked your comment because you're saying the sweary words. Hello, Anon. We are talking about the Mike and um, Jeff Nippard situation and how absurd that is and how goofy that is. I kind of want to go with some food as well, but I'm having some fun um, talking about this, so we'll flip you all around. What's my phone battery at? We're at, can't see it. Fantastic. But, uh, yeah, so essentially, and I don't know if you know anything about the Jeff Nippard and Mike situation, but Jeff Nippard's like a normal fitness influencer, and he was attacked by a steroid head. And it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So that's what we've been talking about. I tried watching it too. So he has two recent videos. Well, I should say I didn't try watching it because I knew because once I was seeing enough of his post on Instagram, I knew who it was, and I knew his YouTube wasn't going to be anything anything of note. But the comments. So he has one video that's like 100,000 views because as soon as this happened, everyone went to his YouTube channel to see who the heck this guy. That's usually not a good indicator that you are well known on social media. Is if something absurd happens in your last video, all your other videos have 5,000 views, and the one that everyone's going to spam like whatever comments on gets like 100,000. It means everyone is like really interested in just that one video. Um, but yeah, I don't. And the conspiracy part of me thinks maybe the guy knew what he was doing and knew that, physically attacking someone would be such an absurd thing that it would get him a lot of attention, and maybe he's deluded enough to think that any attention is good attention, and that he'll grow from this. His social media presence will be greater, but I'd be shocked if that was the case because there's some things that, like I guess Craig you said is a good example of like someone that will clickbait, have drama, whatever, and do all this stuff, but he does it in a very intentional and intelligent way to where he's trying to grow presence without, negatively impacting others. And a guy doing something that absurd is so bad as far as just a human thing in like any context. It's just like I don't know how you can do something like that and try to profit from it for one, but also like not just like
fade into obscurity because it's just so embarrassing to be seen as someone like that. I think saying it's roid rage, from my experience interacting with people who are on those substances, they are, I guess, more aggressive in a sense, but it's in the context of lifting. And I get like the Mike Israel, it's like you have those feelings and stuff, but the people that use those substances are still humans. And I think, much how alcohol might affect someone, I think it pushes your personality in ways that it's already inclined to go. So if you are, a more aggressive person or angry person, like those might push you to be more aggressive and more angry. And it could be good for lifting to be more aggressive, but obviously not being more angry. Um, and the same with alcohol. Like there's people that are happy people and they have those adult beverages and then they just are happier. And you have people that are kind of the opposite. And there's leeway for both, but the roid rage argument, I think that pushes the blame off him as a human, and I think the biggest issue is that no matter what you're doing, it's such an absurd thing to do that I I would be shocked if it was only because of the drugs that he was doing. And he's not that in good a shape, so he might not even be taking a lot. He might be natural. he might he might he looks so bad I might accuse him of being natural. And I think that's the biggest insult for him. I never see him do legs, so any of his videos, I know you said you looked at his I was gonna set this up there. I'm sitting on the bench here. You looked at his like YouTube page and stuff, but I just scrolled pretty far back to see him doing anything related to legs, and it was like one was a glute. I'm like, all right, bro, you don't do quads, you don't do squats, and it's like you're gonna take those substances and not train the main lifts. It's kind of hilarious. But I have a feeling though, Mohammed, that that person probably was very angry and unlikable before he did all that stuff. It just I think it a different way. And I think the people that turn out to be like crazy people on that, we're already kind of crazy. And I don't know. I guess I'm speaking more of anecdotes and seeing people like the Mike Israels online to where you can see people that are pretty level headed about that stuff. But I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like I'll never know if it's something that could, if I were to go that route, if it would impact me in a negative way because I'm just not. I like my liver and my health, and I would like to lift really big weights, but I don't. At this point in my life, it's not. It's never worth it really for most people. Only if you have a chance to be a professional athlete or something like that, and even then, it's a bit of a push because the statistical chances of anyone making it professional in any context is so low that for at best you're going to be a pretty decent person at that sport, but at worst you damaged your body and now you're not doing that sport. So I'll never know, but the people that I do know in my personal life that do partake, they're really nice. I don't know. Maybe my experiences are the out of the norm, but I see them working really hard and training really hard, and they train. There's a group of people that some take, some don't. It's a mix of people, and they all work so extremely hard, and it's motivating in a sense because all those substances do is allow you to train with more volume and obviously eventually more intensity and obviously recover. It doesn't inherently make you do those things. Like you recover better, you feel better, but you still have to have that desire to work hard, and that's more of your just natural inclination. And a lot of people who aren't on that stuff would work harder if they felt better, if they weren't sore, if they could recover faster. And so it works out well for those people if they do go to the other side because then they get those benefits of like I like working hard, I want to work harder, I just am limited by the physics of my biology or the biology. I think the physics of my biology is a bit uh, not correct, but it's like me. Like I would just train super hard, but I don't have the joints or the muscle recovery to do that, and I don't.
I don't know how much all that stuff would, elevate me beyond a crazy level, but um, a lot of that's just, how you respond. And I think most people respond well to that stuff, but I think the person behind whatever you're doing is certainly just, I don't even know if it's amplified. I assume most people probably feel fine when they're doing this stuff. And um, so my split is not really like a typical bodybuilder split because I do Olympic weightlifting. So um, every other day, I guess it's kind of, so it's not like a set times during the week. It's just every other day. So tomorrow will be a secondary kind of day, but and then do muscle clean plus overhead press. So a lot of pressing, and then singles on the front squat and pulls of some sort, whether it's a snatch pull or a clean pull. And so the main volume that I'm getting the pressing and the pulls, the front squat is more just with the heavier weight, so I'm not doing volume with it. But then on like a day like tomorrow, practice some snatches a little bit. So I work up on snatches and clean and jerks, and then do back squat volume. So the last week I did 3 sets of 10, 3 different times, where I did 120 kilos, 140, 160. And then I ended the week doing 185 for a set of 10. And that was a PR. That was really difficult. But I also was essentially maxing my front squat on the alternate days. And so those are going pretty well too. And so this week I'm doing 4 sets of 8 instead of 3 sets of 10 on the other day. So tomorrow I'll do 4 sets of 8. And the snatch and clean now is more so contingent on how my body feels on that day. And it's not so much trying to get volume in those. Like my main focus right now is just getting volume in the squat and just training the main movements. And I guess getting volume in the press because I want my shoulder to feel good. My left shoulder is like at 95% capacity, and a lot of it's just mobility at this point. And it's definitely, I think it's probably even more at this point as far as what it's capable of. But I want it to be pain free and have all the mobility that my right one has, and just get it fully recovered before I start trying to push the snatch and the clean and jerk too crazy. But now it's like a good point to just get squat volume in. So the main split or the main, um, yeah, I mean, I heard it back in the spring and it's recovered. Like when I say it's at 95%, it's like it's objectively at 95% strength. Like I have snatched 95% of like with the hook rip being 132. So it's like literally at 95%. And it's just getting it back to the 100% because I want to push beyond, those PRs. And I'm not going to be able to do that if it's not, because it's mostly, it's not really like pain necessarily. It just rotates slowly. So then when it locks out, it's in front of me a little bit. And then I just miss lifts. And so it's frustrating in that regard because the weight doesn't feel bad. It feels strong. I catch it strong, but it's just my left shoulder doesn't rotate back as quick as my right. So then once I get to those 85, 90%, it becomes really difficult to get it into the correct position. So that's mostly my focus now with the weightlifting stuff is to get my shoulder mobility wise, just focus on doing that every night and just trying to make the snatches feel good as far as where I'm catching them, just getting the mobility correct with them, and then just doing a lot of squat volume. So just building the legs and really just shoulders in general with the pressing stuff. And like a day like today, the goal of the pressing is to get stronger, but is to kind of feel out the movement to see if it's just making my shoulder and putting it in discomfort or irritating it or anything. And honestly, each time I do it, it's just more of like a muscular press in the sense that like it's not bothering my joints to do or anything. It's just a strain, like a normal muscle strain that you do when you're pushing any sort of weight, which is a good thing. So I want to kind of continue with that and treat these days not like off days, but as a different focused day. And then the day like tomorrow will be the I guess the main idea of the session is to get the squat volume in, and then everything else is kind of a bonus. But days like today, like I said, snatch grip press, overhead press, and then I do like the muscles just to get the weight up. A front squat single and some pulls, whether it's a cleaner snatch pull. So I alternate between those on these days, and essentially those days just alternate throughout the week. So it kind of just depends on how the week's going. Um, I don't know when that would matter, but we're talking about lifting, brother. Come on, John. But yeah, so it's a pretty, and it's not even like a necessarily linear progression. I decided to drop to eights with the squat just because it seemed logical to do a week of tens, a week of eights, and just kind of push the volume with the back squats up and just continue to build with that. especially since I did the 185 as a lifetime PR for a set of 10 in the back squat, and just push up sets of 8 and then see if I can do a big set of 8 this week at some point. But it's not so much even that I'm worried about like necessarily increasing the weights or like pushing to a crazy heavy set. If something hurts or something feels off, it's just accumulating volume. So then as my shoulder continues to feel better and as it gets to 100%, when I drop back the squat volume, then I'll have just a bigger capacity to train weightlifting. That's essentially my goal. And it's a good time frame to do it because I know in the spring, the end of May is usually when I do a little local meet. And yes, John, I do that and train or play chess a little bit, but mostly lifting weights. And do a competition out in the spring. I hit legs like every day, so I did three, like last week I did 3x10 squats 3 times, and then a set of 10 at the end of the week. And then on the days where I wasn't doing the 3 sets of 10, I worked up on a single on the front squat. It was the 3 sets of 10 definitely is crazy volume. That's why I'm not really doing crazy amounts of weightlifting volume right now because of that. But honestly, because the intensity when you're doing sets of 10 is low, it's actually, my legs actually, I don't say they feel good necessarily, but the like quad tendons and stuff that had been kind of like irritating before um, felt better. It's interesting because I don't have like knee pain and stuff. And that's just because I do full range of motion and I've trained squats and all of that so much. But we do Olympic weightlifting, like you kind of just by default do a squat every day, whether you're doing a snatch, or clean jerk, or a back squat or front squat. It's pretty rare to not have a day where you don't do that in school. So there's 2 days I didn't train, one last week and the one the week before. But for the most part, I just train every day. And like sessions like this, they're easier because like the strain is on the pressing and like the front squats. Yeah, it's like a difficult to do, but it's not a lot of volume, so it gets done quick. And then the pulls are easy for me. So yeah, and I I view training legs. I come from the context of I'm just gonna lift weights every day, and so I try to get it to fit into that context. But if I didn't really care about training every day, I would probably still squat 3 times a week. I think that's viable and fine for most people. Um, but it all depends on like what you're training for. Like if you're training to get a bigger squat or if you're just training for bodybuilding volume, it just all depends on the context of what you want to do. But if I like weightlifting tomorrow, honestly, I'd probably just train every day still and just do squats or pulls and on presses and all of that stuff and just focus on just doing a lot of volume and not necessarily never pushing up the weights, but not really being the context or the main focus of what my goals would be. Because like the big like I like lifting heavy weights, of course, but it's all to push with the weightlifting stuff. So it's to get better at weightlifting to allow me to do that. And if I didn't have that goal and it was just I'm lifting weights for health at this point, then maybe just always do sets of 10. Probably not, because it would just be absurdly boring after a while because you can only push them so hard. But yeah, I don't know if Mike Metzer has the best idea as far as training goes. Once a week can make good progress depending on how new you are at training. But I think for most people, I think doing like if you're just doing for bodybuilding or for health, you can even do like a full body split every time that you go in the train. So you could do a squat and a press and a deadlift and make a lot of progress in that regard. And your deadlift or pull in a day could be just doing a barbell row on a certain day. So walking, weighted lunges, and calf raises. It's a lot of leg stuff. Mine was just front squat singles. But yeah, and you'll change over the years too. And the interesting thing I've noticed over the years is like my idea of what I look like hasn't really changed. It's not necessarily that I have body dysmorphia where I'm skinny, I need to get bigger or whatever, but I don't view myself as like a large person, but I weigh like, 235, 237 and I'm relatively lean. I'm not like bodybuilder shredded, but I'm not sloppy or anything like that. And so like I get asked a lot, people I meet are like, do you lift, or like, you're big, or you got big shoulders, or blah blah blah. And to me, I don't really, I understand, like, in a literal sense I do. So it's not as if I'm blind to that, but to me, I just don't really view myself as like a large human. Um, and that's something, because I started out really skinny as well. And even when I was gaining weight initially and getting stronger, it was relatively lean. Like, I don't know what my body fat percentage is, but um, I'm like 230, 235, 237. If I was like 225, I'd probably be pretty lean. If I was like 220, it would probably be like, I feel like I could probably lose 10 pounds. I would lose some strength, but I would be like pretty darn lean. And if I was like to 220, or even under that, I'd be a lot weaker, but that would be like if I was doing a bodybuilding show, like that'd probably be where I would have to go. But yeah, similar to where my dad was. He's like 6'2", 6'3", but now he's like 180. He's skinny now that he's an older gentleman. He was 200 pounds when I was a kid, though. I was trying to get to 200. Getting to 200 pounds took a while. I was in college. And honestly, like, staying at my current weight is not too difficult. I still have to eat an absurd amount. Otherwise, I do lose weight pretty easily. But I haven't tried to get to 240, but like if I want to actually gain weight, it's very difficult. And a lot of this is because I have a lot of lean mass, but it's also because I train every day. I walk 10,000 plus steps a day when I'm teaching. Like, I burn a lot of energy just in general. So it's a lot of calories, and unless you want to eat like a slob, but I don't. But yeah, I think, Muhammad, we had a good talk. I think I'm gonna go eat some. I'm gonna make a protein shake. I get the powdered peanut butter, and I'm gonna go try that out in a chocolate protein shake. So I'm hoping that it's fantastic. It was recommended to me by my dad, the 6'3" dad, that I did not get all of his height, just most of it, and thankfully his better looks than him. But uh, uh, no, I'm just in my shed, bro. That's where I lift. Look like a teacher. Yeah, I've been a teacher for 9 years, so this is my ninth year of teaching. And 2016 was my first year, so this will be my ninth school year. So 8 full years I've done, but this is, I guess, 8.5 if you count this as a half year. But I do get that sometimes, but I think it's just the glasses. I think it's if I didn't have glasses, people wouldn't assume that I was a teacher as much. Uh, but it's a shack. It's a shed. SHED. But just look at my other lifting videos, brother. You can see what it looks like that. But I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks for stopping by, and it was good to talk.